On February 2nd, the Nurse Corps will celebrate its 124th birthday. We're here to wish the Corps a very happy birthday.
Yes, sir. Army nursing has a long and proud history stretching all the way back to the Revolutionary War. In 1775, the Second Continental Congress authorized 1 nurse for every 10 wounded soldiers.
During the Civil War, that number grew even larger. More than 3,000 women served as Union Army nurses at a pay rate of 40 cents per day plus 1 ration per day.
Seeing the incredible value of nurses on the battlefield during the Civil War, then later during the Spanish-American War, Congress decided to establish a permanent nurse corps.
And so the Nurse Corps became a permanent corps of the medical department when Congress passed the Army Reorganization Act of 1901.
It proved to be a fortuitous decision because the Army would be able to quickly ramp up during World War I.
Exactly. When the U.S. entered World War I in 1917, there were only 403 nurses on active duty. Yet by the time the armistice was signed in 1918, over 22,000 nurses had served.
World War II saw an even larger commitment, with over 56,000 nurses saving countless lives on the battlefields of Europe and in the islands of the Pacific.
Yes, on the battlefield and in the air. One of the greatest innovations of the war was having flight nurses attend to the soldiers being evacuated by aircraft.
1947 was a watershed year for Army nursing.
Yes, indeed it was. Up until that time, nurses served 3-year terms. The Army-Navy Nurse Act of 1947 made nurses commissioned officers in the grades of second lieutenant through lieutenant colonel.
And the chief of the Army Nurse Corps served in the temporary grade of colonel.
And they could remain on active duty past the 3-year point.
In 1950 was also a pivotal year for Army nursing.
Along with the technical medical skills, it became apparent that the Nurse Corps needed trained leaders and managers.
On the 5th of September, 1950, the first course in nursing administration was established at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas. This was later renamed the Nursing Advanced Course.
Those management and leadership skills proved crucial during many conflicts that followed, including the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and Desert Storm.
During the Korean War, nurses served in the Mobile Army Surgical Hospitals, or MASH units, that provided critical medical support during the priceless golden hour after an injury.
We would be remiss if we failed to mention that the first female general officer of the United States Army was an Army nurse.
On June 11, 1970, Anna Mae Hayes, the 13th Chief of the Nurse Corps, became the first female general officer.
The 1970s and 80s saw the Nurse Corps developing greater specializations such as anesthesiology, pediatrics, OB/GYN, and ambulatory care.
Beginning in 1976, all nurses were required to possess a baccalaureate degree.
And in 1991, anticipating a high number of casualties during Operation Desert Storm, the Army established over 13,000 beds in 44 field hospitals.
Thankfully, American casualties were much lower than estimated, but the Nurse Corps did use these facilities to provide excellent medical treatment to many Iraqi POWs.
About a decade after Desert Storm, the U.S. forces would again be involved in major conflict in the Middle East, with Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan and Operation Iraqi Freedom in Iraq.
And the Nurse Corps rose up to the challenge of modern warfare, such as dealing with the effects of improvised explosive devices.
The year 2011 saw the first Army nurse to ever become a U.S. Army Surgeon General.
We salute Lieutenant General Patricia Horho on that historic milestone.
So, from the Revolutionary War through today's conflicts, Army nurses have delivered world-class health care on the battlefields, on the evacuation routes, and in support hospitals.
Our mission remains the same: to provide responsive, innovative, and evidence-based nursing care integrated on the Army medicine team to enhance readiness, preserve life and function, and promote health and wellness for all those entrusted to our care.
And let's not forget our families. While U.S. soldiers are engaged in combat in faraway lands, they have the comfort of knowing their families are being taken care of back home. And the Nurse Corps plays a pivotal role in that care.
The Nurse Corps has a culture of continuous improvement and transformation. We're always looking for a better way to provide medical care and return soldiers to the fight. We're preserving the strength of our nation by providing trusted and highly compassionate care to the most precious members of our military family, each and every patient.
Army Nurse Corps, you've got a lot to be proud of.
And a lot to look forward to in the future. We wish you a very happy birthday. Care for the warrior.
Proud to care.
This will defend.